Greetings, YouTube, and welcome to a very different kind of video that I've been excited to make for quite some time. You see, I want to start a series of videos that every once in a while, not every day, maybe not even every week, but every once in a while, I talk about a champion and how they can be buffed to go from being a trash champion or maybe at best an average champion to being a Demi-God champ, or maybe even better than that. Someone that we can, as a community, get excited to play with. And this mostly applies also to newer players who don't have the top tier, god tier champions at their disposal. They're not going to be bringing into questing all of a sudden a 5-star Blade or a 5-star Starkey. They might only have, one 4-star. I remember when I first started playing, my first two 4-stars were Black Balls, as I call them, or Black Bolt, and Hulkbuster. So I didn't have anything really to go off of, and those were champions that had to be my main attackers in Alliance Quest and questing, and that was the case for a while. So when you get to a certain point in the game, it can be very easy to remember just how hard it was when you first started to have champions that weren't low tier, and the game likes to give those out, sadly, more than the top tier champs. I also want to give a quick shout out before I go any further to marvelsynergy.com. I don't know who puts this out exactly, but they deserve a boatload of credit. If you have opened a new champion, this especially applies to newer players of the game that maybe have their first 4-star and are trying to figure out who to pair them with as 3 stars or even 2 stars, or maybe who to look for as 4 stars and 5 stars going forward. Go to marvelsynergy.com/champions, and they have every single champion in the game and the unique synergies and what they do. This makes it so easy to read up and do some research and really maximize your ability to gain damage with your best champions. So here's the deal. Abomination, for the most part, doesn't have much usage in the game, especially the further you get along. I will say that the only real way I still encounter Abomination is in Alliance War Defense, because Abomination causes poison with passive charges whenever he takes damage. So if you're bringing even like a Blade into Alliance War and you go up against Abomination, you will have the ability to gain poison by attacking, and this can be especially effective in a heal block node where Blade's awakened ability of regeneration is essentially stopped. But this video today is all about Abomination not being the abomination of the MCOC community, pun intended, dad joke intended. It is about Abomination becoming his true best self. And so I want to scroll down for starters, and you can see there's a host of synergy bonuses, mainly with the Hulks, which makes sense because the animators were incredibly lazy when they made Abomination, and he has mostly the same animations that Hulk did before the patch 12.0 buff. But if we scroll down to MODOK, everyone's favorite, and I mean that as sarcastically as possible, champ to face in Alliance War, you'll see that MODOK adds this really incredible synergy where Abomination deals 50% more poison damage. So let's say that the poison damage was, 100 damage, which is a pretty decent amount. All of a sudden, it's dealing 150 per second, and that can add up so fast, especially on a heal block node. But the main problem with Abomination, the main gripe, is that he is one of the only champions in the game that I know of, at least, that the main cause of damage only happens as a passive ability when he's hit. So you really have no incentive to ever play with Abomination as an attacker in questing, whether it be Alliance Quest or Alliance War or just questing in general. Because the goal, of course, is to not take damage when you attack, and if you know that the champion's only going to be at their best when you're getting hit, you're just not going to use them. So here's an idea. What would happen if Abomination was more like Black Panther or Wolverine or X-23 and was able to stack poison as an attacker the same way that the champions I just named were able to stack bleed? Then you could keep the passive ability that way and basically cause damage whether or not you're getting hit or if you are hitting the opponent. Now all of a sudden you have this rare champion that does something that not a whole lot of champions do in this game, and that's stack poisons. This would be a lot of fun to play with. And then if you got, and I realize that they are science, but if you got your third science tier champ involved down here with Red Hulk, now you're increasing your critical rating for the whole team. So you're doing far more crit damage, you're causing stacks and stacks of poison, and you're not allowing the person that you're fighting the chance to heal up on a heal block node. This is a really easy way for Abomination to jump quickly from being trash, especially as an attacker, to being someone that's at least above average to even Demi-God tier if all the tweaks were made in the right way. Now, of course, I don't expect Kabam to do this anytime soon because, quite frankly, they've given me no reason to believe that they care about buffing their trash champions. But in a perfect world, Abomination would get the buff that he deserves and maybe even some different animations that would allow him to be unique versus people like Hulk. I also think Abomination is just one of those champions that until something happens, he's kind of forgettable. He's not a champion that really you can be excited about opening, and that's a shame because every champ should have some utility that makes them special and unique to other champions. So I think it's time Abomination gets buff, and I hope after watching this video and thinking about the way to tweak his poison ability to cause stacks as an attacker along with stacks as a defender, you can see how if Kabam just made that tweak, suddenly he'd be a lot more desirable. And as an Alliance War defense team, if they ever fix the synergies, which Lord knows that's probably not going to happen, that would be especially potent if you added him to MODOK, because MODOK is one of the best Alliance War defenders in the game. So that's kind of my thoughts on this. Comment below and let me know what you think. This is a risk that I'm taking. I always try to do new series every once in a while because I want to create fresh content that's just not crystal openings or offer breakdowns. And even though those have an important place, I want to challenge myself to come up with new types of videos that give champions that are kind of forgotten a way to be heard and to be recognized. So Abomination is the first on my list of hopefully many more to come in the coming months. And as for now, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video, for supporting my channel, and good luck in everything in the game. I hope that if you get Abomination, you'll soon have a reason to be excited and not just say, well, that's a shame, moving on.